Hi, thank you for joining us here at Tax Talk UK, where we talk about all things tax and consider other important aspects of working for yourself, being self-employed, running a small business. So today we're going to talk about side hustling. We've been asked quite a lot, how can I side hustle? So we're going to talk about that today. Before I do, if I could please ask you to take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll easily be able to refer back to this information if you need to, as well as finding other information that we have available on a whole host of topics, all aimed at helping you understand tax better and being successful in what you are doing. So back then to side hustling. So we get quite a lot of questions about this. Can I side hustle? How do I side hustle? Is it okay? So basically the answer is, so this is generally somebody who is employed, have a job and are paid through the PAYE system, which basically just means that you get a pay slip from your employer at the end of the month and they have deducted your tax and national insurance. And so you have that income, but either for because you enjoy doing it or to earn extra money. You want to do something, maybe a little bit of to earn a little bit of extra money, maybe because you kind of quite like the idea of doing that in the long term for yourself. It doesn't really matter what the reasons are. Ultimately, there's not, from a tax point of view, there's not any reason why you can't have a self-employment as well as being employed. It would be important to check with your employer and check your employment contract doesn't prevent you from doing that. That would be the sort of most likely thing that would prevent you. And if that's all okay, then as I say, from a tax point of view, it is important for you to remember that if you are already earning for your employment up to your and above your personal allowance, or perhaps even into high rate tax, that whatever income you earn as a sole trader, you will basically be taxed at the relevant rate of tax. So that can sometimes be preventative in making it profitable if you're doing something to earn extra money. You don't want to do that and then find out at the end of the tax year that most of that profit is lost in tax. So what will happen is at the end of the tax year, your employer will give you a P60, and that will tell you the total amount that you've earned in the tax year and how much tax has been deducted. And then you will need to complete and submit a self-assessment tax return to HMRC. So they will already know the money that you've earned from your employer and how much tax has been deducted, but you still will need to put that onto your self-assessment tax return. So you'll put that information from your P60, and then in the self-employment section, you will need to tell HMRC how much you earned from your self-employment, from your side hustle. So the total amount of sales or income that you had, and then any expenses that you incurred, and that will tell HMRC what the profit was from your side hustle, which is the sales less the expenses, and that will be added to your income, and you will then need to pay the tax on that additional income. So it's important when you start side hustling that you realise that when you submit your self-assessment tax return, you will need to pay tax on that profit, so that you can make sure that that's costed. Sometimes that can cause confusion to people, and it means that their side hustle isn't actually really worth them doing. So just make sure at the start that you understand how you're going to be calculating your profit, and how much tax that you're going to have to pay on that extra income. Important to note, if you are self-employed and your income is less than £1,000 in the year, then you are actually exempt from needing to complete a self-assessment tax return. So in that instance, it would really just be maybe a hobby. So maybe if you're just doing something because it's something that you enjoy, but you do actually make a little bit of money from it, if that is less than £1,000, then you don't need to do anything about that. Another question that's commonly asked in terms of side hustling is if you're selling things that you already own. If you are selling your possessions, that's not a side hustle. That is disposing of your assets, as it were. And if you're just talking about small items, then it's unlikely that you will need to do anything about that. But if you are generating a lot of income from selling your possessions, then you should check out our capital gains video to make sure you don't fall within that. But certainly for the context of what we're talking about today, just, you know, sort of a small side hustle to either generate a little bit of extra income, or because you're happen to be making money from something you enjoy. So if the income is over £1,000, and that is the money that you receive, so not the profit. So even if your say if your total income was £1,500, but you incurred £1,000 worth of costs, so your profit was only £500, you still would need to you wouldn't meet the eligibility for the exemption, because that is based on just purely the income, not the profit. So hopefully this helps to explain a little bit, and helps you to understand that the first thing you need to do, as I mentioned at the start, is to check your employment contract. And then if that says that you can do it, then you just need to understand the tax implications and how much tax you'll have to pay to make sure that it's going to achieve what you want it to. And then that's all that you need to worry about. And we do have other videos on having more than one employment that talk in more detail about submitting the self-assessment tax return and what to consider. So thank you very much for watching. And as I mentioned, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Goodbye.